Hi. Oh my gosh, let me just add you guys. Okay. Uh,
Hey, it's
hi.
Tracy Leroy. Okay, there we
How are
go. Hey,
you?
Yasha, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hi. We can't do that.
Hi,
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are
Doing
you?
I'm
well.
good, thank you. It's so lovely to have you guys over here at this time. So excited. What's your local time?
It is 7 p.m. our time.
And it is 8 in the morning over here.
Oh,
Oh,
13
fun.
hours ahead of us.
I
And you're
know,
looking
I
like
know, I know. Oh
way
my
more
god.
alive than those of us that have been awake for like
Yeah.
forever.
Okay, hi everyone. With me today is the Shofs. They are a couple, obviously, evidently. I came across the content sometime last year. One of our priests actually reposted your content. I was like, oh, okay, let me check them out. And I have been glued ever since. So I thought it would just make sense to just have them over here since I'm always talking about marriage and love and don't do this. You guys don't settle. Wait for God. Wait for God's best. I'm like, people won't probably take it from me anymore because you're tired. Let me get evidence. Let me get evidence, exhibits to show you what happens, like in a good marriage, so that you just don't like settle down with the wrong people because you're tired of waiting. So here today with me is the Sharks. I'll be asking them a few questions. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Sorry, I'm
Like,
trying to fix my thing. Okay, let me
no
stop.
problem. No problem. No problem. So,
How do I put it?
the first question is, what are three things that you know? Okay, wait. Would you please introduce yourselves?
Okay, so first, let me say thank you for having us on here. Like, I really enjoy this kind of chat, so I was really excited when you invited us to join. Okay, so my name is Abisola, and this is my husband.
Hi, I'm Shay.
Okay,
Hey.
uh, so yeah, we have a couple page together where we share fun things about marriage, and sometimes not marriage, but we just kind of share random things. I feel like a lot about us may come out through this question, so maybe we can just go ahead and dive right in. And then,
Yeah. And interesting thing, the page started as her personal page. And then gradually, I featured on the page and people started liking my fine face. And all of a sudden, yeah, sorry about your page.
he took over my page, so
No, but you guys are one person, so it's fine. Whoever's page is thriving, a win for one is a win for everybody. No. Okay,
yeah.
so I just would like to ask, like, what are three things that helped you guys discern if you would be a good fit in marriage? Because a lot of times we have people, saying, "Oh yeah, like I feel like a whole zoo when I see this guy," or "At this girl, she just scatters my brain," like, and those things are not just not enough to keep a marriage, alive. And so you have to discern, Okay, I think discernment is something spiritual. So, like, let me say, okay, for those people who just don't understand, what are things that helped you decide, this person, this one is my spec for life, like, what are those
Wow.
things that just got you thinking, spec for life, it is you, it is you.
Okay, three things that made me feel like he was the one.
This has to be good. I'm here. I'm here.
To be honest, like when I first saw him, I didn't get that, oh my gosh, he's the one vibe at all. But I mean, over time, like I definitely had the platonic thing going on, like, oh, he's just a friend. So I thought he was a good guy. I even tried to recommend him to another friend of mine. I was like, oh, I have this good friend, like you should get with him or whatever. So in that sense, like, yeah, he was fine. But then we had a good friendship. And from there, we became really close. And obviously, this is where we are, how many years later. But I think the things that made me feel like he was the one, it really kind of, there wasn't an aha moment. I feel like because we got really close and we got really close because we have a lot of things in common. One obviously is our faith. Like, you have to be on the same page in terms of what you believe in. And so, like, we had a lot to talk about because of that. And I think we're also in the same phase of life. Like,
We're both broke. We just got our first jobs.
No, in the
That makes
video
a
I
big
watched,
difference.
in the
what
video
did you
I
say?
watched, in the video I watched, she said you were broke. Like you were like broke. She was broke, hey, but like you were broke.
She was broke. Like she didn't. I was just coming out of brokenness. You see, I just got my first job. It was kind of
But
nice.
the funny that was like even after we got engaged, like when we
Oh
first
yeah.
met, we were both college students. So obviously I don't know a lot
No
of
wait, I had
college
a student job
Oh,
in
you had a
college,
college student
and I had
job,
just
yeah.
finished an internship, so I had a little bit of money in my
That's
pocket.
true. That's fair.
So I was just still coming out of brokenness, as I said.
Yeah. Okay, so let's answer her question. What was the thing that made you feel like this is the right person for me?
Man, when I saw the spec, when I saw that spec, I was like, perfect.
So it was physical.
I'm just kidding. Come on. Nah, I'm just joking. No, I mean, okay, yeah. First thing, of course, what attracted me to her was, she was kind of like my spec, and I kind of liked her a little bit. But then the more important thing was as we started talking, I kind of liked her energy. I liked her vibe. I liked her spirit. I liked the fact that we could flow and vibe, in conversations, in our faith. So those were things that really made me, get closer to her. But I like the fact that she had a good heart, right? Like she wasn't just like, I don't know how to explain, but she had a good head in her head, or how do you say it? Head on her shoulders. There you go. But most importantly, like she has a good heart, and those are things that mattered to me. That this is the right person. So the spec attracted me, but what kept me was her personality.
I love that. I love that. Because a lot of times we focus so much on like the things that attract. Like I know for women, that's just generally how it happens. We focus a lot on the things that attract, but on the things that keep we be liking, like okay, you are a spec, but like is there anything else to your specness? Like is that the only thing?
Well, I'll say though that when I first met her, I did not let her know my extent of brokenness. So, I was broke, but she didn't need to know that.
The funny thing is, I feel like because I was so young, like we met when I was 20 years old.
21.
Oh.
21.
I was 20 because I remember you getting me 21st birthday present.
Oh yeah,
so I was 20. And because I was so young, I don't know if that's young, right? I didn't really have all these like expectations for this is what I want in a man. I didn't have all this, oh, he has to be rich, he has to be this. Like I was just a young girl, not even trying to find love. So it was just as raw and as sincere and as genuine as it could get. So I wasn't looking for, oh, he has to be a certain type. I wasn't trying to find someone. So he was just a friend. And I feel like we bonded on the inside values. Before I was not like, okay, I'm actually attracted to this guy. I actually want to be with this guy. So I didn't really consider, oh my God, but is he rich? Oh my God, but no, it was already too late then. I already liked him as a person.
Wait, what do you mean too late?
I feel like if I was dating now, like in my 30s, like, I don't know, like it's probably going to be a different story. Like, I feel like now I would have the time to think about, what do I really want? Like, maybe not. Maybe it would be, I just can't say, right? Because that just never happened to me. But yeah.
The moral of the story, guys, is grab them while they're young. That's it. Grab them while they're young. No, I'm just kidding. No, she makes a good point.
No, I love this. I like also how you just put the disclaimer, like how young you were, because a lot of people, I feel like things that mattered to you at that time do not necessarily matter to you now that you're in your 30s, and things that matter to you now in your 30s won't matter to you when you're in your 40s. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. My second question is, if you guys are doing well, I am marking. This is an examination. Make sure your scores are good. Hey, okay. After this, we give you a marriage certificate for, grade 1. Hey, you've excelled. Okay. Second question is, what are 3 lessons you each learned in your first year of marriage? In your first year of marriage, what are 3 lessons you each learned?
I can go first.
All right, I'm gonna fix the lights while you.
Lesson number 1 for me was that what you see on the movies is a lie. Like, it's a big lie, right? Like, you still have to wake up. You still have to go to work. You still have to do other things. You can't just be romantic and in love and all of that. All right, that's just on the lighter side. All right, you talk to yours. So three
Three
lessons.
lessons I learned. I would say one thing is I realized that there's actually a difference between men and women. That's number one. Number
What
two is
explain? What does that mean? Like, of course, I look different from you.
like, how do I put this? Okay, I'll give you an example. I remember, after the honeymoon and all that, we came back home and like we started working. So first day we went to work and came back. I, brought out my lunch bowl, put it in the sink. I washed it. I put it on the rack. Guy brought out his lunch bowl from his bag, just dumped it in the sink. And I'm like, what's gonna happen to it? And I'm like, why did he just leave it in the sink? It was just so random to me. Like the sink is clean. You come back home, like, why don't you just wash it and put it away? Like,
It's a process,
and
you
I was
see.
like, oh, maybe he just had to run to the bathroom or something. And I was like, whatever. I washed it, I put it away. And then the next day, he put it there, and I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
It's a process. Guys take their
I was
time.
like, what's the point? Like, who else is in this house? Like, he's thinking he's gonna wash his bowl, like lunch bowl. Like, it's just so random. You just leave it in the sink. But I started to learn that, man, like, not everybody does the same thing the same way. Like, we're different people. And also the fact that he grew up, I mean, we're both Nigerians, we're both Yoruba, but he grew up in a different environment, in a different family. I grew up, like, we're just different people. And like now we're living together. Do you know what I mean? Like, so now it's like, okay, it's different and I have to find a way to work this thing out to leave. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just different.
She's trying to say she had culture shock.
Culture
That's what
shock.
she's
That's
saying.
what it was.
No, I think it's normal that people kind of have that though, because I mean, like even with friends, as much as you like your friends, or as much as you love your spouse, they're still like a different person, and you kind of have to find a way to make that work. So
Yeah.
we can't say it's not culture shock. You are the one who culture shock here.
Yeah. Another thing I would say, maybe not in the first year of marriage, maybe like the first 2 years of marriage that I realized is like the kids factor and how, I mean, like you get married and a lot of us Africans is like, yeah, I want to have kids, I want to have kids, which is great. Like I love my kids to death, whatever. I love them so much. But kids do change. One, they change your marriage, and then two, they change your life forever. So there's no, oh wait, pause. Let me hit the pause button. Let me reset real quick and reprogram for another 6 months and then come back to parenting. That doesn't work. Like once you've entered the I have kids zone, your life is forever transformed and changed. And so is your marriage. So that's definitely one big lesson that I learned. Like I just thought, oh yeah, babies are cute, they join the marriage and yeah, they're cute and they join the marriage. But oh my God, they change your entire marriage and your entire life. So that's a whole topic for another day, by the way.
Definitely. Oh, they have a YouTube channel, so you guys should really check it out.
Yeah.
Really check it out. Okay. Okay, I got your 3 lessons. I got 3 lessons from you. I got 1 lesson from your hubs. Are we making them? Yeah, I'm counting. What's going on?
That's funny.
So
I don't know. I don't know that.
We are one and the same.
movies are a lie and men are. Wait, there's a book I think it's called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus.
Is that what they say? I don't know.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
actually a
that's what
book called that. Yeah, and so I I didn't read it, but I did listen to a podcast that explains us how different, men and women actually are. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade, but I mean, women see better. So, scientifically, women see better. We see more color. We see in multi-directional ways. We multitask really well. I mean, obviously, is iPhone 13 better than iPhone 10? I mean, God can't be that. So, I mean, He created the woman after the man, and He's like, oh wow, this is good. And that's
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right about that. I remember, I think it was within the first 3 months or 6 months, I don't know. We had a disagreement once, and it was like, we were done. I just, went to bed, right? And then she was there and she was crying. And I'm like, why are you crying? What's wrong?
I don't
nothing.
remember.
And it was just like a whole lot of drama. I mean, not drama. Oh, boo. Not drama. But it's like, to me as a guy, like, guys get, guys fight, are upset with each other, they fight with each other, and
They
next
move
thing
on
they're
to
playing
that.
games together. Like, it was like she just held it in for so long. And I'm like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
like it definitely took a while for me to figure out, okay, yeah, people are different and ladies are different.
We have different emotional responses to the same situation.
And like women are emotional, men are factual. So, like
Yeah.
already you're arguing about two different things from like two different perspectives. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway, is there something that made you guys question your relationship before you got married? Was the one thing that just happened and you're like, I don't do it again, no, I don't do it again. We're like, was it just like all smooth and rosy because you guys look so cute together? You're like, wow, I can't just would not even think of it.
Well, there were two actually. The first was before we even really started dating, right? Because she made me work. Like I had to really beg her, in a sense. I had to beg her, and she's pinching me to the autograph.
No, I'm hearing what you're saying.
Nah, she put me through a lot because she was like, "Oh, I'm not looking for a relationship. You're just a friend. I want to hook you up with my friend." And I'm like, "What in the world? You're the person I'm trying to talk to. I don't. Why do you think I'm talking to you all?" So she made me fast and pray and like seek consulting and all that. So at some point I was like, "Wait, this is so much drama." But luckily she came. She worked. It worked out.
Okay. So after we started dating, though, I think her question is more of like
Come
while
on,
you were
you
in
gotta
the
let it be
relationship.
sweet now.
Okay, sorry.
No.
I mean, I don't think I was trying to play hard to get, to be honest, and I don't think ladies should play hard to get. I just didn't think that.
Mm-hmm. Talk it.
I thought you were a great friend. I wasn't looking to be in a
Let me
relationship.
ask
That
you
was
a
it.
question. Let me
And I
ask you
was
a question.
young. I was 20,
Wait. Let me
focused
ask,
on my school.
let me ask you a question. Would you want to be in a relationship with the person as a really good friend and you really enjoy the person's company? Or would you just want to be in a relationship with some random person?
Are you asking me, or is that a rhetorical question?
I'm asking you.
Well, obviously, I mean, the basis would have to be a good friendship. But I mean, there's just certain friends that I have. I'm like, okay, you're my friend, and I just don't want to ruin that. Like, bro, we're friends. Let's keep it like that. Because I'm just like, oh, I know quite a lot about you, and I don't think I would want to go there with you. So, in her defense, I get her. Really, I get her. I understand her. I really do. She's justified.
Yeah, guys don't like being friend zoned, but okay. I'll leave it
Yeah,
there.
now I know that, to be honest. Now I get it. Like I said, answering this question as, a 30-something-year-old now versus when I was 20 then, I was an entirely different person,
That's why you catch them young. Alright, what's the other answer?
What's the other answer? I don't think that throughout when we were dating or engaged that we ever considered, oh, maybe he's not a good fit. Maybe he's not. Like, I never, ever had that question. We were so close. We were so close that at some point my dad was like, I'm kind of uncomfortable how close you are to this guy because we did everything together. I was always talking to him. Like, my world revolved around him and his revolved around me. Like, I knew everything about him. And so for that reason, it was just like, if I'm breaking up with you, it's like I'm letting go of a very good friendship. So that was not even a consideration. The only thing that actually shook our relationships to the point that, yes, we did consider breaking up was the fact that we're both sickle cell carriers, which is a big deal. So for those who don't know what that means is because we're both sickle cell carriers, we have a 25% chance of having a child with sickle cell disease. And so it's like common sense, especially growing up. It's just like we already know once you're a sickle cell carrier, you don't get married to someone who's a sickle cell carrier. So that was just like an automatic grounds for breakup where we come from. But again, I didn't know that I was a carrier when we started the relationship until it was like, oh, let's get married. And his dad was like, is she a carrier? And we're like, no, I'm not. I'm AA, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, just go get tested again, just for the sake of it. And that was when we found out that I was a carrier. So we're already just like so far into the relationship then. I'm going to spare you guys the details of this, but if you want to hear more of the details, we have like
on it. So I
Yeah,
saw.
we have two YouTube videos out that talks about all the things that you need to consider and essentially ways to navigate around having a sickle cell child. It's a complex decision, so don't live this life going around and be like, okay, I can still go get married. So please, don't get married as a sickle cell carrier. Think about it carefully. But essentially, that was the one thing that rocked our relationship, and it gets complicated. Like when family gets involved and they're like, yeah, it's not a good idea. I mean, we didn't know we were actually getting married until 4 months before the wedding. Like once our parents gave their blessings, we planned the wedding. They gave their blessings in December.
January.
January. We
We
got
got
married
married
in
in
April.
April.
Like it was just like, oh, you said okay, all right, let's plan this wedding. And it was a very, very small wedding.
And before that, it was like
Slammed
a
together.
2 year process, just going navigating the ups and downs. Like I remember there was one time, I think it was like 3 months before they gave their blessings. She was just like, "Shay, is it worth it anymore? Is it really worth it? Should we continue or just like we're still young, right? It's not too late to just go our separate ways."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys
But
essentially didn't have an issue. Like what you guys had was just like a biological issue, not like relationship wahala. Like, oh my gosh, hey, relationship don't die. Oh, let's leave. You know, it wasn't that bad.
no, we didn't have relationship issues.
That
Like
is
we've
so
never had
cute.
any.
Isn't that because you guys were really young, or you guys are just such a good fit? Like, and I think that's what that's what really drew me to you guys. Because a lot of people have painted marriage in a very bad light, and we're constantly being told how hard it is and how difficult it is and how just don't do it and how people get miserable. And so it's quite a breath of fresh air to hear people talking about the good things that happen in marriage and not scaring people away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing she mentioned, right? The biggest thing was we were good friends. I mean, forget the fact that we were dating and in a relationship. We actually truly enjoyed our company. Um, like we saw ourselves as being like, if there was ever anything that happened, I was the first person she would call, or she'll be the first person I'll call. Not because it was from, oh, this is the person I'm dating, but this is my best friend, and this is a person that has my back regardless. So I think that's one key thing that, for those that are dating, right? If you can find that person that is your best friend and that has your back regardless, right? I mean, if you guys are romantically, attracted to each other, that's not a bad person to be with, as long as all the other checkboxes are checked, of course.
Another thing I will add is like the fact that our values were just so aligned. So like we had the same ideas for many different things, like in terms of obviously one is our faith that I've mentioned, in terms of how we handle our own personal finances. Like even before we got married, like we had the same general idea of like we're not frivolous spenders. Like imagine me getting married to someone who spends a lot. Like there's nothing wrong if you buy, like if you're into like buying all these designers and all that. That's just not who we are. So imagine me getting married to someone like that. Like that conflict or that clash would always be there. That tension will be there. That we always have to talk through. Like, why did you buy this today? What, like we don't even have those kind of conversations to start with. I mean, sometimes we have it, but it's like, oh, maybe we should pause on spending or blah blah blah. And we just talk through it. But in general, like our values or like our ideas of things are generally just in sync, is what I would say.
I love how you made mention to your faith because it's just one thing to discern a God-centered marriage, and it's a completely different thing to discern a general marriage in a sense. Like what you're looking for in a God-centered marriage is not the same thing you're looking for in a marriage which you believe you can't dissolve at any time and just walk away from. So the intensity that you guys brought to this, it's because there was something bigger, like there was God at the center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Okay, just a few things. Are there any few things you'd like to share that you wish you had known before you got married? I know you've mentioned that, like the movies are not daily life and that men are really different from women and, kids really change things. But is there something that you guys had in, like, you guys discovered after you got married? Like, yeah, hey, this marriage thing, oh, It's not easy. It's not easy. Was there anything at all?
I feel like you've answered this question already. Okay, is there anything that I wish I knew before I got married?
It doesn't have to be something serious. It could be something playful. I know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, because I've seen the reel that you made about like men and women coming out of the shower as well. I'm like, the small things, eh? We don't actually think about these things, you know. So, like, is there anything, perhaps?
Oh yeah, we definitely have the cliche toilets. You know how people make jokes around the toilet seat thing, like the guys don't put it back down. And I'm just like, man, people are so dramatic, like whatever. The first time my butt went bam on that toilet seat, I was like, yay! What is this?
Oh my. You're dramatic, honestly.
No, I was like, yo, so this thing is for real. No. But no, I mean that happened and I told him. But I think after that first time, I don't think I've ever experienced it. Like he always puts it back down. So I think like honestly the key is communication. Like just talking through even the little and the big things together. Like just saying, hey, can you do this? Can you not squeeze the toothpaste like this in the middle? Like just talking through every single thing, minor and major.
There is one thing. Very funny, right? But when we first got married, I was living in like this very, as I told you, right? I was coming out of brokenness. And so I was living in this apartment in some random place somewhere. And, we had this bed and I at least slept on that bed for so long and everything was fine. But like within a week of her sleeping on the bed, she had so many bites on her body. Turns out we had bed bugs. I had no idea. The bed bugs, like, they never beat me on that bed in that house. But the moment she came in, her body was like just red with a lot of dots and this and that. And so it was
I know.
And so it's even just the fact that guys and girls can be so different that the same bed we're sleeping on.
No, bed bugs is not the boys and girls matter. They're bed bugs.
Listen.
Well, I guess our body is very tasty to the bed bugs.
Hey. Listen, that was the first shock of my life when we got married. We moved out of that apartment like ASAP. Like ASAP. Yeah.
What? It wasn't me. I didn't know I had bed bugs. They never beat me, okay?
No, it was new though. If you remember, like everyone in the apartment complex like started talking about it at the same time. So I think it like happened. Maybe I was even the one that brought it.
The bed bugs, because the moment you moved, like everybody started getting bed bugs.
That's so funny.
Yeah, and I remember we got on bed the way it was just.
That was an interesting period. Yeah.
Okay, so are there any tips or any areas you'd just like to advise single people, to work on before? Okay. I'm not too sure if I should ask you this question because you guys were 2021 before you got married. You were not even looking for love, but with what you know.
I mean, we didn't get married at 21, but yeah, we met at.
But now, as married people, is there something or like are there any tips or areas that you'd like to share with single people and advise them to work on before they actually get married or start looking for the one?
Yeah, I think like that varies depending on the age, right? Because I'll say like, when they're young, right? Like young being in their early 20s, like be friendly with people. Like you don't even think, oh, I'm looking for a person. Just be friendly. Go just be yourself in a lot of things. Make friends. Go out. And at the same time, right? Don't just do it with the perspective of I'm looking for love. Like actually be trying to improve yourself. Because I mean, I know this sounds weird, but the more you improve yourself, the more you attract better prospects in a sense, right? Because if you don't improve yourself and you're at the bottom, then the prospects you attract are those on the bottom. Whereas if you're getting better, you're like people that are, almost don't put it like this. If you're an entry level person, you attract people that are not really, entry level or just at the beginning of their career. Whereas if you're working so hard and now you're like a you're a VP, right? I mean, you're not going to attract some random person at the bottom, right? You're going to attract the VP. Now, I use those analogies just to explain, but the idea is like work on yourself because then you attract people that are serious and that care for, your values in a sense.
Mm-hmm. I love
I
that.
would I would say you guys are gonna hate me. I'll say two things. The first one, I think that single people would not like this, because it'll be like it's easy for you to say when you're married, but I would say that you should milk the benefits of each phase of your life while you're in it. So while you're single, because I'll be honest with you, I feel like a lot of single people look at married people and they're like, man, I want this, like I want that and I want this. And to be honest, a lot of us married people are also looking at single people like, man, did she just go to Miami for the weekend and just like didn't even think about it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, enjoy that phase, enjoy the benefits. Every part has its pros and its cons. So while you're in singlehood, enjoy the pros. Don't focus too much on the cons, even though we all know they're there. Because once you enter married life, you can't go back to the pros of single life. So and then now you're stuck with the cons of marriage as well, even though, yes, there are a lot of pros that outweigh the cons,
Yeah.
you know.
Even on that part that she's mentioning, right? Like, as a guy, if I see a lady that is just, sitting on just wishing she's married, to me, that's not attractive. But if I see a lady that's traveling around the world, I'm like, okay, like, I want to get to know you. Like, you seem fun and exciting, right? I know it's kind of weird, but that's just how it is. Like, a person that is actually living their life is more attractive than a person that is waiting for something.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like if you have a job and you're interviewing, right?
That's true.
You're more attractive to a prospective employer if you already have a job than if you don't have a job.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Just like in physics, like things that are moving keep moving,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just keep it moving. Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was gonna say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Okay. I was gonna say one more thing. Oh, where did I forget?
He's not saying go and start stealing people's girlfriends. That's not what he's saying. He's just saying, like,
Oh.
yeah, that was not what he was saying. In case you got the wrong end of the stick, that's not what he's advising you to do, or to go and get someone's man. That's not it.
True. Yeah, that's true. Thanks for clarifying that. The second thing I was going to say, and this may apply more to women, although it goes to men and men and women, is that marriage is not going to be your savior from whatever. So I know, like, a lot of us desiring marriage, like, I just want to get married so I can catch a break, or so I can do this. Like, whatever it is that your goals are in marriage, aspire for it for yourself, so by yourself. So marriage is not your financial savior. So you don't go marry the wrong person for the wrong reasons. Like, if you want to be financially stable, marriage is not the option, because that could lead to frustrations as well. He's not there to save you from your finances. So whatever it is that you aspire in marriage, make that your own personal goal for 2022. Like, I want to blank, 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 and work on that by yourself. And when the guy comes along or the lady comes along and they see that, oh man, she's working, or he or she is working towards this goal, man, let's get at it together. Let's fire at it together. And then it can amplify what you're already working on. But you can't just be lazing around saying, I'm waiting for marriage, so I'm filling that blank for yourself. That's not.
I love that. I love that because you're so cute. I love that because a lot of times we kind of stop living. We postpone life to when I'm married, and yet you forget that as a person, God has a plan for your life. You are an individual long before you're in a marriage, and even when you're in a marriage, your purpose, your individual purpose, still stands as a person. So like, pushing life until later on so you can live when you get married. That one, it's a hard one. Do you have anything else anything else you'd like to share on this question?
That was it.
Okay. He's still thinking.
20-somethings. What about 30-somethings? Do you have advice for them? What is the same?
Advice for the 30-somethings that are, the advice I can think of. The advice I can think of, I don't want to. This is my first time with your audience. Let them not come and be like.
Say it,
Just
please.
me.
Go for it.
I would say, oh gosh, okay, this is a hard one, but please pass on it if this doesn't apply to you. I would say for the older, not older, but like maybe like closer to 40s women who are single, desiring marriage, and also desiring to have children because our bodies are built in certain ways. You don't want to pressure yourself to marry the wrong man just because, man, my clock is ticking and I may no longer be able to have kids. And I wouldn't go into too much details, but I would say explore options for insurance to make sure that you can still have kids, if you get married a bit later than you would like to, if that makes sense. So I don't want to use my whole mouth to talk, but don't let the kids factor pressure you. And I've seen this happen to a couple friends in the past. That's why I'm saying this. Like, I'm 37, I'm 38, I'm 39, and I don't know. I really do want to have kids of my own. And then they end up in a marriage where, to be honest, they're not happy in the marriage. And one of them is out of it now. Like, you don't want to be in that kind of situation. You can actually consider adopting a child now. Like I said, don't wait for marriage to get your goals, man. Like, go at your goals. Consider adopting now, consider adopting later. Don't let the kids factor pressure you. Consider storing your eggs if you want to go that extreme. Like I said, explore your options of insurance. Like, there are options there so you're not in an unhappy marriage just because you want to have kids so bad.
Yeah. If you marry for the wrong reasons, you're most likely to marry the wrong person.
Word.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And the last question. Oh, I don't want this to end. Oh, you
I
guys.
think we have some questions in the chat that may be worth going through. I don't know. I thought I saw
any.
Oh, yeah?
I saw comments that were talking
Okay.
about G-Wagons and comments that were talking about being friend zoned and how you guys are inspiration. And yeah, I haven't noticed any questions per se.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Someone said we're sisters.
Oh yeah,
We look alike. All right, I'll take that. She's very pretty.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I'll ask this question, then if we have like any other conversational, like points, we can just go on to that. All right. What is one rule or one principle that has like helped you guys get through your marriage? What is one principle that you have held on to that has just made your marriage successful? Like one thing that you say, hey, if we didn't have this, this thing, hey, it would have been hard, or you would not be able to do it. What's one thing or one principle, or even two if you have them, that helped you navigate, or that are helping you navigate your marriage and keep besides the butterflies, we see them, guys. Keep it for later. Don't get hot and steamy here, please. Now, Anyway, guys, please continue.
I'll say for me, it's the idea of her being my how do you put it? It's the idea of like knowing that I have someone who has got my back at all times, and knowing that this person, we may not always see eye to eye, but she has my best intentions at heart. Lets me have this emotional safety that I can be my best, I can be my worst, I can explore anything, knowing that this person will support me, will champion me, is my biggest cheerleader, will advise me, coach me, whatever the case might be, right? So I think it's knowing that this person has my best interests at heart and has my back regardless. Deep,
Yeah.
right? I'm deep, right? Hey.
So it's like even when we have like disagreements or arguments, it's not because of the essence of the person. It's just that it's something we need to talk through and resolve. It's not that I doubt that he loves me or he doubts that I love him. It's not that I'm blaming him for you are so this or you are so that. Like, I don't think we ever have that kind of conversation. Like, why you always like blank? It's more of there's something that we just have different opinions about that we need to talk through. And I think that makes a huge difference. Like our fights are not that deep, like it's not that deep because it doesn't cut through to the person, to the essence of who he is. It's just something because we're different individuals. We just need to talk through something. For me, I would say that yeah, having that safe space of being able to just talk through whatever it is with him. I literally cannot think of anything in this life that I don't feel comfortable talking to Shay about. Like I can't think of anything that I can think of anything that will come up that I'll be like, I can't tell my husband this. For what? Then why am I married to him? You
Oh
know?
wait, you haven't told me some things that some friends told you though.
If they say I shouldn't tell you, I'm not one of those women that will be like, I'll tell my husband. Actually, sometimes I intentionally forget. I don't do that. If they say don't tell your husband, as you're telling me, I'm reacting to you and I'm erasing it from my brain because I don't want wahala in the future. Like, but I said don't say this. No. If you tell me not to tell someone something, even he won't hear it. So yeah, that's different. But everything else, like with regards to you and I, not a third party,
Mhm.
yeah, I feel very comfortable like just talking through everything. So for that reason, it just kind of makes the marriage like less of I don't know, like I don't feel like I'm caged or like in a prison. I just feel free in my own marriage, and that's like very important to me.
Hey, you people. Oh my gosh. Can I say something that I've noticed in these 45 minutes that we've been here?
Okay, ready?
Sure.
Are you ready? If you're not ready, please just
So
leave it in the air.
dramatic. You are so dramatic.
I'm not. Okay. I've just noticed. I've noticed how you guys have made a lot of emotional deposits into each other, into like emotional bank accounts. Am I making sense? Okay, let me explain. So an emotional bank account is a bank account for emotions, like how safe you feel around this person, or how comfortable you are around them because of the emotional space that you guys have created. And I feel that with emotional bank, well, I know it's actually a concept. It's in a certain book. But anyway, yeah, so it's a concept where in a friendship or in a relationship, the more you open up to each other and spend time with each other and do all these things that bring you closer to each other, you make emotional deposits. And so even in the hard times and things are just really difficult, you have that bank account to withdraw from. So even when you guys are really like not agreeing on one thing, you still have that emotional balance from all the deposits you've made in the past. So I think that's just something I noticed. Like you guys, your emotional bank account is really on six figures. Like, hey, like you guys are doing it.
Please, can it translate into money? Because I need the cash. I need to
You
withdraw
can't
cash.
max it out as yet, but I honestly feel that with a good marriage, it translates even into money, because when you go to work, you're more effective, you're more efficient. Like everything you're doing comes back to money. So, like it will translate into money, not like overnight, but definitely it does translate into marriage, because like money, because a bad marriage, hey, it's just costly financially as well. So you
Yeah.
don't have to like constantly go see a person like a marriage counselor to just help you resolve matters, because your emotional bank account is high. So yeah, like this is just so beautiful. A lot of women don't actually know if their husbands love them, but in the last slide you said, I am sure, I do not doubt that he loves me, and he does not doubt that I love him. I'm like, this level of confidence, I aspire to have it.
I mean, if you don't have that level of if a person does not have that level of confidence before they get married, maybe that's a good check to have. Like before you say I do, if you're like, I'm not really sure, maybe when we get married it'll be clearer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Actually.
I don't think marriage is not gonna make things better. So it's gonna amplify whatever you're experiencing now, whether good or bad. Marriage is just going to make it clearer for you that yeah, no, it's not gonna change things. It's gonna make it more obvious. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually made a YouTube video the other day and I said something along the lines of marriage does not change people. And I feel like that's the biggest mistake we're making in our generation. Like we think, oh my gosh, I'm going to marry him and then he's going to change. And he's going to stop doing this, I'll stop doing that, I'll stop doing this.
So actually, along that, I do have a point. I agree with you completely. Marriage does not change people. The one thing I'll say that I noticed in our relationship, and perhaps from your point, it comes from this emotional bank account, is the idea of you can influence the other person indirectly to change. And so, for example, so for example, right, like, I am this like entrepreneurial kind of person, always pursuing a lot of new ventures, and she's this more like stable kind of person, right? And it's not necessarily, I mean, I know at some point in the marriage, I was like, man, I wish it was just so entrepreneurial, but I can't just say, okay, now today become entrepreneurial and you're entrepreneurial, right? But it was more like the more she just saw me pursuing my dreams, pursuing my passion, doing different things, it's like gradually she started doing some of those things herself. And it wasn't necessarily because I was trying to change her. It was more like we sort of influenced each other. Of course, on the flip side, she influenced me in so many other ways, right? But to the point, right? Yes, you can't go into marriage saying, I'm going to change this person. Rather, I'm going to do kind of, I am who I am, and I'm going to pursue the things I'm pursuing, and this is like my goal, and whatever the case might be, right? And as we're working this journey together, we will influence each other for the better. But you don't go in saying, I'm specifically going to influence you. That will just happen by the way because you're trying to do that.
He even started to like some food that I like. Like she never liked spicy food before. Ever. Like the first time I cooked for you was like now he's like, oh yeah, bring more pepper. Like, somehow you start to influence each other in that sense. I think that's definitely true. I
rub
remember
off onto each other.
Yes, for sure. I definitely remember like right out of grad school, I had like very low self-esteem. And I remember saying, no one is ever going to employ me. Why are you leaving me alone? I said, no one's ever going to. I'm like, why would they hire me? Like, I can't even do anything for them. I don't have any work experience. Actually, he's like, Psh, do you know who you are? This guy, the first job that I got, when they called me, do you know I didn't even apply to this job? This guy applied to that job for me, wrote a cover letter and all of that. And I got the job. I worked there for so many years. And now I'm the one who, like, I see all these young entry-level people in my company. I'm like, oh, yeah, come, let me advise you. Let me give you all this, like, career, like, you know what I mean? Like, at some point, you start to rub off of that energy. I'm like, I'm the one who tells them to be confident. I'm like, speak up at meetings. Don't be quiet. I used to be that quiet person before, but somehow I got all this,
Let me even tell you, she's the one that gives me public speaking coaching tips right now. Okay.
Kinda.
So
yeah, I do think that in marriage, like people can feed off of each other's vibes, and I'm not the person I was when we got married. Certainly not, and he is not the same person that he was. But we're sort of growing and evolving to who we are today. So yeah. Another thing I wanted to say with regards to, I don't know, I just kind of feel like we're given the vibe that, oh, I married this perfect person and he married this perfect person.
Perfect.
No, it's not a bad thing that you married a high value partner and you're also a high value person. It's not a problem. Like, I feel like we are so used to dysfunctional marriages because people are married for the wrong reasons, wrong people, wrong everything. And so when we come across people who've actually done it for the right reasons, people who are doing it well, because the whole of God has said also, we kind of feel like you're giving us vibey, like judgy vibes, and that's not it. No, please don't apologize. No, if your marriage was good, it is good. Stop trying to make people having bad vibes comfortable. No, it's fine. It's fine. Enjoy it. Obviously, you have your own struggles, but like your struggles are not like out of this world for us to like then start saying, oh yeah, because I asked you guys a question where you could have possibly mentioned how bad things really got because the door opened, but then you don't have that exactly. So
yeah,
it's not a bad thing.
The one thing I would say is like, I would say what we have, and I think I've mentioned this before, is like being in sync with the things that, with one, our values, but two, just in general, the things that make us happy. I feel like someone else may get married to me and be like, whoa, like, she's not even that romantic, or it can be like, oh, he's not even that romantic. You know, like we just have like, for example, we could have some like there's sometimes where we're not very gifty. Oh, I bought you this. I used to do it before, like, oh, Shay, I bought you this new watch, and he's just like, okay, thank you. Like that's like it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then for some other person, it's like, why doesn't he buy me gifts? Like, why? You know, like
person a lot.
there you go. So, like someone else may have that kind of frustration where for me, I'm just like, he doesn't care. Like you could buy him a gift, you could not buy him a gift. Literally, he doesn't care because the next day he's gonna forget all about it. So like just knowing like, and that's just one random example, right? Like there may be some other things where like the lady doesn't cook, you know, and it's just like there's some women who don't cook and their marriages are fabulous. There's some women who cook all the time and their marriages are not fabulous, you know. So you just have to get someone who you kind of understand them and whatever their attributes are, like you're fine with it and it doesn't bug you one bit. Like it doesn't bug me that he's not a gifty kind of person at all. Because I mean, yeah, I would like to have gifts, but is it the end of the world? Not really. Like I don't care either. I guess I've grown to not care either. So like just for some other marriages, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? So finding that person where the things that are a big deal for this person is also a big deal for me.
I love that you brought up the whole love languages thing because I feel like that's something every person kind of needs to know. Like if you're in a relationship with a person, like what's your love language? Because most times you're trying to show them love, but like they don't get it. Because for me, I'm not like a words of affirmation person. Like or no words of affirmation, yeah, but acts of service. Do it for me, don't do it for me. I'm still going to do it. In fact, the moment you start doing it, I have to do it again because you haven't done it well enough. So I get frustrated. Like I get frustrated with people
Wow.
things and
It's so amazing.
oh, that's easy, huh?
At the beginning of our marriage, like the love languages, then I just didn't like I didn't read the book. And so her two things are actually like words of affirmation and acts of service, and I had no idea. And so there were times where it's like stuff will happen, and I'll just notice that she's not too happy. And I'm like, okay, but what have I done wrong? And she just couldn't articulate, like, here's what the problem is. Eventually, we kind of sat down, and after me asking that for like 3, 4 days nonstop, I find out that, well, I didn't assist her in the kitchen like 2 weeks ago. I'm like,
Seriously, exaggerating by
okay, I mean, I'm exaggerating a bit, but eventually I got to figure out that, oh, well, so these are the two things that matter to you. So essentially, you're giving me a pass of buying you gifts as long as I say words of affirmation and acts of service. Okay, I'll take that. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but you get the idea, right?
I do. I think it's very essential to know that you're not, because I think with women or with men, just with both genders, like when you get into a relationship, you think you're dating a fellow woman or a fellow man, and it's just it gets crazy. Some person actually told me, "Oh, you're very emotional." I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm a woman. I'm not going to be." I'm like, you try like, are you insulting the way I was created? Because I was not created to be like factual as you are. Like I am factual when I have to be, but I'm saying my default setting, the way women are, we're not like that. We're emotional. We think using emotions dictate a lot of things. But like, nah, it's true. Like we have this whole, oh no, like I got in there and the vibe was not right. Men are like, what vibe? What vibe? You know, so it's so true. Oh yeah. Anything else you guys would like to share with us before we call it a wrap?
I feel like I've shared a lot. I feel like your followers are going to be afraid of me now. I'm just kidding.
Hey,
No.
people need to go and listen and take notes. So, because oh my gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot.
No, I think I've shared everything. Yeah.
Sir, anything?
I don't think I have anything else.
I would say pray. When in doubt, like pray and ask God for guidance, honestly, because God has a way of showing us things. Like He has a way of telling us, "Yo, run for your life, man. Run for your life." And I will also say, like, man, don't ignore the red signs. Like I've seen people ignore the red signs, the red flags.
Let's talk about that actually. So when you're in love, it's very easy to not see the red flag.
I've seen people complain about the red flags and say, like, I don't
Yeah.
want to tell anyone's story. That's why I'm not trying to give it, I'm trying to be vague, but I've seen people complain, like, he doesn't X, Y, and Z. And now you're married and it like literally amplifies like 1,000
I
times.
mean, so true. So here's what I've seen, right? I've seen that there's some people that they're dating and the red flags are there, and it's just, something doesn't feel perfectly right, or but they don't necessarily say that, oh, the fact that he raises his voice as a waitress, or the fact that she does this, and those are examples, right? Maybe they're egregious examples, but the fact that there's this thing, this is actually a pretty big problem because
Mhm.
when you guys go on that, like, to the movies, or he gives you a hug and holds you feel good, and those things melt away. And so it's sometimes very easy to forget or overlook those red flags.
Mhm.
And I think to your point, right? Like, you really should ask those questions. But it's kind of hard, and I think that's why you need to have, like, almost like an accountability partner, or like a friend or somebody that knows the person, just like that knows a lot about the person that you're involved with,
Yeah.
because then they can point out things that you will very easily overlook.
Because the marriage never fails in the marriage, it fails before the marriage. Like all these red flags are the very same reasons people come back 10 years later, like, no, I can't do this. But you knew this though, and you were drunk in love. You
Love
know?
is blind.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's true though. Like your marriage fails before the wedding itself, before the marriage even begins, and it
Yeah.
just like you said, an accountability partner is so important because they're not in love and
Yeah.
they have like a bird's view over things, and you know,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
agree. And I always say this as well for people who meet online. A lot of times you may not have that, one mutual friend, but
Mm,
find it deep for
mm.
them. Like if you search hard enough, you will find someone who knows someone who knows someone who knows
Oh
someone
yeah,
who knows you.
oh yeah.
Do
So
your
yeah,
customer research.
it's worth the work, man. Do it and find that, what is it, referral source. You
Mm.
need that because yeah.
I
Let me give
think
you
the
a startup
couples even
analogy.
better. Yeah.
Oh, and I was just going to say, let me give you a startup analogy, right?
Oh yes.
Where, as an investor, I'm putting my money into a business. After I've made that initial connection, I'm going to do my due diligence. I'll look through their books, I'll call their references, I'll ask questions to make sure that this person I'm putting my money in is going to double my money. And it's the same thing if you're going into a relationship. Do your research. I know, love, you like the person, you met the person online, but make calls. Find
Mm.
out that, does this person have a history of emotional abuse, or physical abuse, or gambling, and those are the extremes, right?
Mm.
Or is this person just, you know, really what he shows? Because guys know how to look and act great. I
Mm.
would lie. Like, we can act like we're angels, and just saying.
Yeah, I actually I have like a personal experience that I met someone online, and I was talking to my spiritual director about it, and then he gave some pointers, and then he's like, "Oh, he knows this person. He apparently knows a person that is known by my spiritual director." So it was, "Oh, you know this person who knows this person who knows this person," and then they did a bit of research on him, and woo! I was like,
Wow.
"Have I not been delivered?" Like, because after I found out about all these things, I then like kind of started to see, like I had it at the back of my mind, but not like I went and started saying like, okay, now I'm looking for it, I'm shopping around, show me your bad traits, but they started popping up, and like all these things that had been told started to be kind of reaffirmed. So it is so essential to like, because I think we fall in love in like a vacuum and we don't want other people to know, and if that's the case, red flag.
Yeah. I will add one last piece of advice before we wrap this up, and
Oh,
this one is specifically for the women. I would say, and men, yes, you would attack me for this, but um, you're the prize. Marriage is not the prize.
Mm, mm,
Right.
love it.
Like, yeah, you're the prize. Marriage is not, he's not doing you a favor by getting married to you. Don't lower your standards for
Mm,
someone who you already see red flags in. You're the prize. Like, I don't think we realize how valuable we are. Okay, the kids are
Yeah, he
actually
even finds a wife to
Somebody
find
has
his
an
first
important
date.
question there.
And okay, the question says, what do you advise? What do you advise friends who see red flags, but their friends don't see it? Advice was not solicited. To speak or not to speak. I think you should say it out. Like, it's another thing if they don't take your advice, but you know you warned your friend. Because what's going to happen is they're going to come back to you anyway. Like when the things are going out of hand, they'll come to your house and disturb you and your husband, and you can't have sex anymore because people are coming to your house every day. So it's still a problem. What do you think?
I would say speak facts. Like, you don't need to say marry this person, don't marry this person. That's not your place to say. I'm too loud. Sorry, baby. Yeah, the kids are.
I mean, what I say
would
is,
say just say the truth. This is what I've observed. Now do with that information as you please. But no one can argue with facts, you know.
show the data, right? That's in business. It's all about data. So show the data.
And show it in love. Like, don't be mean, you know. Like, just speak in love how you would like to be spoken to. God, English is not my first day. but yeah, say whatever you have to say in love. Okay, this is taking over.
I love that.
Okay.
May God continue to bless you guys, and yeah, your kids, and may God guide you and make your ministry blow up. We are loving the ministry, so yeah.
Thank you.
These two.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Well, you can tell the kids.
Sorry?
Okay, we've messed up our camera now.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope we can have you sometime soon again. Just talk about something completely different. But yeah, I like marriage and all that. It was so lovely having you guys.
Here, enjoy the conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have an amazing evening. Oh, I guys. Bye.